We meet each other under some very, very sad circumstances. Thank you all for coming, and thanks to the team for coming and briefing everybody. Before we get into the depths of the meeting, I believe we've got a fellow from Prairie Baptist Church that's going to step forward and pray for us. Is he here? Okay, he's not here. With y'all's permission, I'm not a very good one, but I'd like to pray for us, if you don't mind, with y'all's permission. Father God, thank you, Lord, that we live in the beautiful land that we live in, Lord. And Lord, thank you that we've not lost any life in this tragedy that's before our community. And thank you, Lord, that we're a strong, resilient community, Lord. And be with us, give us wisdom. And like Pastor Levi said, Lord, please, we pray for patience. Lord, thank you so much that we're all here today, and give comfort to those that have lost homes, lost livestock, lost grazing land, lost timber, and Lord, we pray for them and ask for you to give them comfort. Thank you, Lord, in your name above all names, in Jesus Christ's name, amen. Okay, now we're blessed. We have a little cowgirl here. Well, she doesn't like me to refer to her as a cowgirl, but I found out she's from eastern Wyoming, and she comes from a ranch. Tracy Weaver, would you come forward, and she'll take it off, and she'll tell you all there is to know about everything, and what she doesn't know, somebody else does.
Thank you, Boyd. So as Boyd said, my name is Tracy Weaver. I'm one of the public information officers for Great Basin Incident Management Team 1 that's been here managing the fires since Sunday, a week ago Sunday. We've got an agenda here with several folks to give you some information. We just ask that you hold your questions till the end, and we'll take a few questions at the end. But we've got a couple of folks that have to get back for evening briefing for our night shift crews. So I'd like to introduce incident meteorologist Terry Lebo.
Hi, as she said, my name is Terry Lebo. I'm the incident meteorologist. What I have up here for you is a little graphic. This is kind of what's going on right now. And this is the water vapor imagery. So what that tells us is the amount of moisture that's in the air. And it's hard to see, but down here, this would be, could we lose this front row of lights, please? Might be able to see it a little bit better. Thank you. I don't know how well you can see that, but that's dry air. It's orangish. And then we have green air, well, the green over here, and that's where there's more moisture. And what we have is high pressure sitting here and low pressure up here. And what that's doing is streaming moisture up over us. And that's what we're seeing today, these high clouds. And that's going to continue for the next few days. Unfortunately, what's going to happen is there are going to be some disturbances that come out of this low pressure, probably starting Thursday and then continuing through the weekend. And unfortunately, I think the bulk of the rain is going to be up in this area. So the next few days we're going to be like we have been, hot and dry, the winds out of the southwest, and then we get to Thursday, Friday. There is a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon and early evening. And again, as we get that moisture coming up, we'll see more cloud. Now Saturday, I think there's going to be a lot of cloud around, but I don't know that there'll be much rain. I think the rainfall is going to end up on a line north of Bend up to La Grande, and I think we'll probably end up dry. We may get 1 or 2/100ths of an inch on Saturday and Sunday, but as far as measurable rain and significant rain, I don't think we're going to have any of that. Are there any questions before we head back?
On weather.
On weather, of course. All right, well, here's fire behavior.
Can't you do a rain dance?
I'll try. I'll go back and do my best for you.
Good evening. I'm Tobin Kelly, the fire behavior analyst, and talk a little bit about what we're seeing out there today. Oh, there we have a perimeter map. Okay. Hang on. Sorry. Okay. What we're seeing today for some of the activity is, I believe, what the heck is the name of that again? Indian Creek View sits about right up in here. So some of the off this perimeter, some of that is burning today up there. This is the old Wildcat fire from 1996, and so that's where we're getting some smoke production. And down here over in the Norton Fork area, where that kind of ran out of there a couple days ago with that southwest wind, that's continuing to move around there, but it's not moving very quickly. we don't have a lot of wind on it. It's kind of moving down slope or moving downhill with the slope, kind of moving across here, kind of filling in along the rim there. And so, with the current weather we have, we don't expect to gain a lot of acreage out there. So, it's going to keep burning down slope and probably cross slope through here. We did have some fire activity here along where the High Lake Trailhead is, and that's not moving a whole lot, but that's still an area of concern with some of the fuel we have out here. We did pick up some spots above Strawberry Lake there, and those aren't being very active, mainly because they're putting lots of water on it that Jeff Serber-Robson talked about with the helicopter up there. But that is a concern for us because there are lots of heavy fuels as you get lower down in the creek coming down here, and that's where a lot of green fuels are there, kind of between these old fire scars. So today it's not being very active. There are some trees torching off where the fire is moving underneath, and they're getting in some ladder fuels. But what we'll need to keep watching out for, the weather's going to stay hot and dry, is when we start getting some wind again. So that's going to be our big concern, and have Terry watching the weather and being prepared for a wind event that could cause some more significant fire behavior.
It's been awfully smoky here, and we have somebody to speak with you, Andrea Nick, about the smoke we're seeing.
Hi everyone. Like Tracy said, it's been very smoky, and I wanted to come here today and let you folks know that we are actually monitoring the smoke here in Prairie City. So here's a photo of our machine that is now set up over at the school, and what it does is it measures what's called particulate matter, specifically PM 2.5. These particles are very small, so if you look at this photo here, the first one is a human hair. And then if you were to turn your hair on end, that little orange one is PM 2.5. So it's so small that your body doesn't have defenses against it, and it goes all the way deep down into your lung tissue. So I'll go ahead and go to the next one. So this data is available to you. Basically what you can do is you log on to the Oregon Smoke blog spot. You see a big map when you open up the web page, and what you do is you click on the dot that's going to be, it's actually a triangle shape over your town. This is an old photo here. Prairie City is online, and you should see that. And when you click on it, this box opens up and it tells you what the current level is. So in this case, when I clicked on John Day, it was unhealthy. Looking at it today, you guys have been unhealthy. There was a short break in the morning, but other than that, it's been pretty thick. Go ahead and continue. Okay, so in addition to that information, we're also doing some modeling, trying to forecast ahead what the smoke is going to do for the day. I took a look, and clear out to the 27th, we're seeing the same pattern. The plume is coming right over Prairie City. That sort of information we put into these little one-pagers that talk about the smoke in your area, and when you scroll down and at the bottom of that page, you'll find that information. I know this is real quick. I also printed out some sheets on how to do this if you guys would like to see that information and get to that web page.
Thank you, Andrea. And we have Jeff Serber, Operations Section Chief for the Great Basin Incident Management Team 1.
So, like Tracy said, my name is Jeff Serber. I'm an Operations Section Chief. What an Operations Section Chief does is supervise indirectly or directly all the forces that are on the ground, and then we have an Air Ops Branch Director that does the air resources, the helicopters and fixed wing. So between being in aircraft and being on the ground, I've seen a lot of the country. I've run into some of the folks in this room in my travels, and I'd like to say first that everybody I have run into has been very pleasant and open, and wanted to find out more information, and I haven't run into anybody that hasn't been really good to work with and to deal with. So I really appreciate that when I'm out there. So starting up here, let's start over here with this fire if we could. with the Jerry Draw fire. That was your fire from about probably around 5 days ago. It got up to around a couple hundred acres. I don't remember the exact size, but it is fully contained now. This line still says it's still in red, but the fire perimeter has been turned black, so that fire is considered contained. There's still, I don't want to call it pockets of heat. There's occasional heat in there, occasional smoke. We still have people that monitor that fire all night long. One engine goes out there and monitors that, gets on a high point, patrols around, looks around for anything that might still be warm out there. And then during the day, we have ODF mainly has a lot of resources over there. They're kind of managing that fire. And but so far so good on that. I'm feeling pretty confident that they've hopefully beat it into submission. So we can move over to the Canyon Creek. So starting here on the north end, maybe I'll go counterclockwise this time. I don't get too dizzy. And so we're looking south now. This is the country right above Canyon City that you're all familiar with. And that, you can see, as you zoomed in, you know, it was harder to see probably in the back, but we have black and we have red. And the black is considered contained line. That doesn't mean there isn't heat right here or heat right there and smoke that you might see right there. But as you're driving up that 395 corridor, you might see some smoke up there. That doesn't mean, this black line doesn't mean anything except the fact that there is no heat within a certain distance of the line, maybe 100 feet or more from that edge. It's dark, or excuse me, it's cold, and the fire has, I guess what you could call less of a chance of ever escaping over that black line than it does over the areas that are colored in red. So let's go on around, now that we're looking south, okay, perfect. This is what we consider our division foxtrot. We lettered the divisions, and a division is a segment of the fire perimeter. So division foxtrot comes down to right around in here, and then we have division alpha that starts down here by Fall Mountain and goes to 395. You can see that foxtrot, about half of division foxtrot is considered contained. The other portion is not. This area right in here is Vance. I think I'm pointing at the right spot. That's Vance Canyon. We had some interesting firefighting right in here, there at the end. This was easier to catch. That day that you had the big blow up there, the day before we arrived, this fire pretty much roared up this side, and it has wind and topography to drive it. And then when it hit the top up here, it lost a lot of its ability to continue on. So it started to fall out of the trees more. Most of this is road and dozer line up here, and it hasn't really moved appreciably since we got here through the efforts of a lot of folks out there that got in. It wasn't a lot of intense firefighting. It was, by that time, it had lost some of its oomph, and it was more getting a line, going in and mopping it up. Here in Vance, it was touch and go for a while. As you know, there's a lot of communication sites up here. There's power lines. You can see that power line corridor going through there. And you can see the fire did breach that power line at one point, but it didn't, as I recall, it did not actually damage the line. So continuing on around to, this is Division Alpha, that's all good and cold, over to the 395 corridor. Then we pick up Division Zulu, and you can see they had a spot fire here about 4 days ago, and that's, you know, after a certain amount of time, they'll turn that black, but anything that's more recent is still in red. And other areas of line that they still don't feel very comfortable about, they've left red, and they'll slowly turn those other lines black, and that will go into the actual total perimeter contained, those containment numbers that you see that keep on going up a little bit at a time. So if we move from Zulu, that's Division Zulu, then we move over here to the dry soda lookout area. You can see all the way from Zulu over to what we call our Romeo Division on the 15 is considered contained. So that's cooling down nicely. Some lighter fuels in here on this private land that's mostly sagebrush, and that can get contained a lot sooner because the fuels get consumed and it doesn't take a lot of mop up. Moving over from Romeo into what we're calling our Papa Division over here. This area is the 1530 road following up, make sure I'm oriented here right. I believe this is the, let me think, 1530. This is the 1530, I believe, right here. And where 1530 takes off of 15, they're right by Parish Cabin. So this comes on up. We're doing burnout operations over the last several days off of it goes 1530, then it goes 1067, then 1067 goes out here into no man's land and stops. So over here is Road's End, probably right in this area. Anyway, right in here. This is kind of, can you zoom in a little bit more? Sure. Thanks. So Road's End, you can see the road right here. It comes up like this, makes a big bend, and then it pops up here, and Road's End, I believe, is right there. So what it's done is you can see this, the natural fire has reached that road, real close to that road right there. We have folks that, what we did is, we brought the line up here and hit the wilderness boundary, but we didn't feel comfortable with this timber in here, not coming back down and out of there towards the youth camp or other areas. So we've cut across from the 1067 road and connected it to the 1640 road that goes to Road's End. And what our plan is to burn this up to Road's End and try to box that thing out of not being able to continue on out to the east on that side of the fire. The last key piece is, I didn't really mention, we have a Division November in the wilderness. Most of our Division Kilo is in the wilderness, and then we have a Division Hotel over here. So we have 3 more divisions. 2 have division supervisors, and they have workers out there doing work. Division November, we haven't had a chance because of the priority levels, or I should say the lack of resources we have. We haven't had a chance to get folks out in Division November. So that's our last piece to try to deal with to close it off. So what we have here is we have folks, the last several days, the folks that live in Pine Creek and Dog Creek have seen a lot of activity over there coming up and down the roads. Those folks are building a contingency dozer line behind all the houses there so that in the event this fire wants to continue down, the fire that you're seeing is right, look at it here, make sure, this right here. I believe that's Norton. And yeah, this would be where it's coming down Norton into Pine. So that's the fire you're seeing up above Pine Creek. This is Dog, it's not as close over here by Dog. And this is an old burn, you can kind of see how it stopped the fire right there. So that's what we're dealing with here. We're trying to build that contingency line so that if that fire continues to come down the hill, we can burn off that contingency line, maybe lay some retardant in there and keep it from coming down and impacting the residents along here. So once we get that line good and secure, that contingency line, we're going to look at opportunities to see if we can get back into the wilderness, tie these open ridges and rocks together. I don't know what kind of opportunities we'll have with the limited resources we have to actually get through the wilderness and try to stop it from continuing in that east-northeast pattern. But we'll do our best to see if we can scout. If you could zoom back over to Road's End one more time, just a minute. So Road's End is back in this area. Wasn't that area.
I just want to go north.
Okay, and then can you zoom out a little? Okay. So we got Road's End over in here. You can see a lot of that high ridge, Strawberry Mountain, a lot of rock in here. Mostly, this is the ridge I'm talking about, not the one that has Strawberry Mountain on it. We'd like to be able to come out here. See, the fire wants to naturally stop right here because of rock. So what we'd like to do is be able to tie rock to, you know, and cut off the stringers of timber and see if there's any way possible we can keep this thing from coming back out of the wilderness like it keeps trying to do above the houses. Doing that later in the summer, you know, another month from now, we're trying to deal with not having it come back here and impact and be right in that same boat over and over again for the rest of the 2 months of fire season or whatever's left. So I went on kind of long there, but I hope I explained it adequately, and if you have any questions, I'm available after. Thank you.
Now we'll have our incident commander, Bill Lund.
Welcome. And we're glad to be over here in Prairie City. My name's Beth Lund, as Tracy said, and I'm the incident commander for the Great Basin team. This is our 10th day here. I'll stand over here, it's a short cord. I see some new faces. We've had several public meetings, over in John Day, and so if you haven't, heard one of our public meetings yet, just a little bit about our team. We are from out of the geographic area, which is kind of Oregon and Washington in this case, and we're from the Great Basin, so that includes southern Idaho, Wyoming, Utah, and Nevada. I always forget Wyoming; it's a little piece, but and so most of my team are from those states. But all Type 1 teams are pretty much equal. We all have the same qualifications and things like that. So, our job is just to try to come and help, when these fires get to this size like this, and just provide supervision and support for the firefighters. That's really our mission. In addition to try to bring some, organization to what's going on here. This community suffered a great loss, and we understand that, and we're very sensitive to that, and so we're trying to be as low impact as we can to the community, but yet help as much as we can. It's been great working with all the local cooperators, the sheriff's department, the local fire chiefs, the local police, state troopers, Oregon Department of Forestry. I mean, just all the agencies: Forest Service, BLM, ODOT, OTEC. Every morning we have a cooperators meeting at 10 o'clock with all of those entities. It was really important to do that in the early stages, but also now, just as they started to try to get the infrastructure back into Canyon Creek with the electric and the power, and get the road open and things like that. So we're kind of in the backdrop, just trying to help provide the venue and the and manage the fire, while also trying to help the local community coordinate all those activities with this wildfire going on. Currently this fire's right around 73,000 acres. Last night we showed it at 37% contained, I'm pretty sure. Tonight I expect that'll move up more towards in 50 to 60% range. You saw a lot of the black line. We wait for Jeff and his operations section to tell us when they feel comfortable with those pieces of line. Right now, I'm confident in our time here we'll be able to get around the north, the west, and around that south end above Highway 16 or Road 16. And like Jeff explained, trying to tie it into the wilderness as best we can. I did want to mention a couple of things. We do have the state fire marshal brought a couple task forces in. It was the night before last that we ended up seeing that fire come down out of the wilderness. We kind of knew it was there the whole time, but fortunately it waited till we got some good containment on the other side. We switched a lot of our resources around to the north end, and have had those folks continuing to make sure we're ready and structure protections in place with the help of the state fire marshal's team. Just really those wilderness fires like that, I mean, there's no access in there, and I flew it today. It's really rugged, and I'm sure most of you know that and love that wilderness. It's a beautiful place, but it is really steep and rocky. There's pockets of heavy timber, and there's also areas where it's more sparse. I did see where the fires kind of fingered out, kind of trying to come down towards the community, but so far it's kind of backing down as we call it, and so we hope it doesn't make a hard run, and when it does get down close enough, we can be there to kind of tie it into the dozer line and hopefully be done with it. But it's a waiting game when you have a fire like that, because we just don't have the resources. We don't want to get somebody hurt or killed in there. And it's kind of a dangerous situation right now because there's just so many different figures of it. But we're ready. We're working with all the cooperators. So also, we are getting the National Guard. They should have their advance party here today to set up camp for 120 firefighters or National Guardsmen that they've trained. And we're going to have those folks camped out right down there by Division Papa, where Jeff mentioned is the most recent fire, where really need a lot of mop up there. And as I mentioned, we moved a lot of our firefighters around to the north. Of course, we keep firefighters all around the circumference of it just to make sure nothing gets away from us, and we patrol it by air as well. But, just with the things going on in Washington and the rest of Oregon, it's just really short. In northern Rockies, Montana, northern Idaho, all of them have a lot of large fires that are threatening lots of communities. So just have had to work with that and work with what we have. But we're really excited to get the National Guard here, and they will be able to really help get that mopped up and secured down there on the south end. So we expect, like I say, the advance party is going to come set their tents up at the Creek. I always want to say Lake City for some reason. Lake Creek Organization Camp. And we've secured an agreement with those folks, and so we'll supply those firefighters there and make sure they've got food, water, and we brief them well, and they'll go to work hopefully Thursday morning. And they'll be here as long as we need them to watch this fire. So we're excited about that. And I thought lastly, I'd just share with you, if it was my, community in the surrounding area, I'd kind of be curious. I did fly the fire, and, it was the first time. It's pretty smoky out there still, so you can't see a lot, but I was able to see that, a lot of that stuff south of Fall Mountain and, well, really all around the circumference of the fire, it's not like Canyon Creek looks in many places. It's not, completely denuded of vegetation. A lot of the fire backed down through those ponderosa pine stands, and really there's still a lot of green forest and mosaic kind of, a few patches certainly have burned out, and there were some areas that burned pretty severely, but I was happy to see that it wasn't complete devastation. Certainly in a few places, particularly along the highway, you can see where that fire burned really hot, but it's not like that 100% anywhere near. So anyway, I don't want to ramble on anymore. There's other speakers, but we're happy to answer your questions at the end of here and make sure you got the answers to what you need to know.
Thank you, Beth. And Jim Walker, the incident commander for the State Fire Marshal's office, is here, and he said he didn't want to speak, but he's here for questions at the end, so stand right by the door back there. Thanks for coming back, Jim. Under Sheriff Todd McKinley is going to talk about some evacuations and where we stand with that.
Well, good evening. As you know, 2 mornings ago, yesterday, I guess it was just yesterday morning, we went out and re-evacuated Pine Creek and Dog Creek because of the fire activity. And just so you know, our process on that is we get a call from the team. They make a recommendation what they're seeing because we're not out there 24 hours a day. The team has people out there, they're watching, they're looking, they're keeping an eye out on people's backyards. They let us know, and then we make the call what's going to happen, and I appreciate that. It's worked well. And so we went ahead and made the decision to go to a level 3, which is get out now on Pine Creek and Dog Creek. And there's actually not a lot of residents up there that were affected. There's a few more on the Pine Creek area than the Dog Creek, but it worked. We physically have to come door to door unless you are not listening to the radio or whatever at whatever time this happens. We are hopefully someday going to get reverse 911 in this county so we can actually notify you immediately. That takes funding, and I hope it gets supported and that this incident lets people see what, the good use of that would be. And it could be for other reasons as well, be it a, snow, rain, flood, whatever. That was done, so they are currently still in a level 3 on Upper Pine Creek from about the rock pit up there at the end of the pavement up to the top, and also at the head of Dog Creek just on the upper end. I was up there today. It looks good compared to what it did several days ago. The team's doing a great job. They're getting some fire knocked down up there. There is a potential, and I'm just going to say this, there's going to be potential that we relax that back to a 2, but it's just we're looking at it. But I also want those of you that are aware, you're seeing what this fire is doing. If it should get wind driven, we could be in Indian Creek. That's why we're up here and talking to you in Prairie City. This is a big fire, and it can do a lot of interesting things yet. I'm not trying to scare you, but I just want people to be aware, maybe think ahead, do some pre-planning. And if you go to the website, to NC Web, it covers the the fire information. Level 1 is ready. I think all of us should be at ready as soon as it hits May in this county, whether we get a notification or not. You should just be ready. 2 is set. That's get your stuff together that you want. And I encourage people, paper, stuff that you can't replace, birth certificates, important items like that. And 3 is grab your stuff and go. We're not forcing you out of your home. I'm telling you that. If it's a 3 and you feel like staying, by golly, go ahead and do it. But give me your name and your address so we can notify people after it's over if we need to. So, and I say that, you know, really, I am actually pleased that no one has lost their life. If you go up and look at Canyon Creek, you know, I've heard some different numbers. I'm not going to throw anything out, but that fire was moving fast, and it was moving faster than I guarantee you can run. And I am just amazed no one got hurt or lost a life up in that area. And so I thought that was a very good thing for the initial part of this. It moved. I saw a lot of fire, been around a lot of fire. That thing was pretty impressive when it got going. I don't know if a few of you remember Shake Table when it burned over the top of Aldrich back, you know, quite a few years ago. That one was moving pretty good too. This one made it look like it was just child's play. So I think we're good on that. I think people just need to be aware it is very dry out there, very dry. You've seen the other starts around. It's, you know, be careful. I'm just telling you, heed that stuff on mowing your lawn or running machinery in the afternoon. Very important. Please be careful. We just don't need more incidents to draw the team and other resources off onto when they're tied up trying to deal with this. So I will be available for questions afterwards also. I'll hang out in here.
Thank you, Todd. Laura from MOTEC.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Laura. I am the Communications Manager for Oregon Trail Electric Cooperative, your local cooperative. I just want to give you a couple of recent updates that we've had regarding your power supply in the area. On Saturday afternoon, around 12:42, we re-energized the entirety of the 138 kilovolt line, which runs 152 miles from the Hines substation near Burns, all the way up and through near the Jerry's Creek fire, which I'm so glad is contained because we were concerned about that, all the way up into Baker County, so that has been re-energized. Baker County has been re-energized, and we are working in incremental stages as safe access into the still burning areas becomes available. To date, for Grant County, we've lost about approximately 160 poles and 60,000 feet of wire for the power service. However, we did maintain that power throughout, so that was pretty amazing. We've got 17 linemen on the Grant County area working 18-hour shifts, so they're on it, they're working it, and we're doing all we can to bring this back to restoration as soon as possible. We began restoration efforts last Tuesday and delivered a large shipment of utility poles and materials near milepost 6 outside of Canyon City, and additional crews have been arriving and are scheduled to work until all of the repairs are complete. So we're here, we're working on it for you and for our communities because we're from here as well. We are closely monitoring the proximity of the fires that are still currently burning in relation to power poles in the area, and additional de-energizations may be called for as the fires move. We don't know exactly how or when they're going to be doing what they do because it all depends on which way the wind blows. But just kind of keep that in mind. We follow level 3 evacuation notices, and when we get a request to de-energize the lines for the safety of the crews that are fighting the fires on the ground, we de-energize the lines. You will see OTEC crews moving in and starting to remove debris and hazardous trees that are along the right-of-way where we are rebuilding our lines. We just want to let our property owners know that before they return that they may see some timber on the ground. Damaged trees are dangerous to our crews, and either way the trees need to come out. So I just want to give you guys a heads up on that. And then, let's see here.
My notes are kind of all over the place.
Portable generators, for those of you who are going to be implementing portable generators, just a couple of quick reminders for you. First and foremost, operate your generators outside in a spot where dangerous carbon monoxide fumes can't enter your home. Second, please make sure that your generator is properly grounded to keep you from getting shocked. And finally, never connect your generator directly to your home's wiring without disconnecting from the OTEC power lines. Skipping this step could actually feed electricity back along our lines and create a very dangerous situation for the utility workers trying to restore power to your area. And for hunters that are going to be out there working the fields this fall, please keep in mind downed power lines. If you see them, stay away and call us at the local office so that we can come out and take care of that. Assume that the lines are live and that they're very dangerous, so just keep that in mind. If you guys have questions, my cohort here and myself will be in the back to answer questions for you, and we have handouts on portable generator safety and down power line safety, so thank you very much.
Thanks, Laura. Another important partner that we have here, Steve, is here from ODOT, will be available to answer questions at the end too. And Steve Beverlin, the Forest Supervisor.
Thanks for showing up, everybody. So I'm going to talk about 3 different things. So when incidents like this happen, we're real quick to put together what we call burned area emergency response teams. So those teams look at the activities that we need to do to stabilize the watershed, to protect the infrastructure, the roads, the culverts, working with NRCS, Grant County. I think Doug Ferguson's the liaison with that group, so they already have a person that's going to be working with us. ODF, the private landowners, BLM, and Forest Service. So we're putting a team together for all those activities, and those activities can range from seeding to planting to replacing culverts to fence repair, all kinds of things like that on the federal land. And I know the NRCS is involved on some of the private activities, and they can answer the private land actions that are going to occur, and hopefully some financial assistance with that. So that's kind of the burned area emergency response plan we're putting together. The other thing we're